everyone to our Pre-Jina X Hackathon webinar today. I am so excited to see all of you and thank you for taking your time to join us in this webinar today. My name is Jasmine and I am from AngelHack. Together with Jina, we're organizing this hackathon and we can't wait to see you and your idea coming up on September 18 to September 20. A quick note about this webinar, it is being recorded and we are also going live stream on YouTube. If you have any questions during the webinar, please ask your question in the Q&A box and we will dedicate half an hour at the end of this webinar to go through all your questions to make sure that you got your question answered. And if you would like to share your thoughts with us about the webinar, about the hackathon, feel free to use the chat box as well. We are very keen on hearing your thoughts. With that, let's kickstart our webinar today. Welcome to Jina.ai Hackathon webinar. So we are organizing this 3-day virtual hackathon to bring together developers, designers, and entrepreneurs to solve challenges using Jina, an easier way to do neural search in the cloud. So we invite you to join us to test your creativity, network with like-minded individuals, and collaborate on real-world solutions, incorporating state-of-the-art AI and deep learning technology from Jina. Let me walk you through the agenda for today. So I will share with you, number 1 is about the challenge. And then next is about the rules, the schedule, the prizes, very exciting part, right? And then we also hear from Alex, representative from Jina, to give us a quick run through about Jina technology, very exciting. Next, you will learn more about the judges, the judging criteria to win home some prize, right? And last but not least, we have the Q&A box portion so that you can get your questions answered by our Jina team here. So let's start with the challenge. So hackers, this is a challenge for you. Build a creative neural search solutions and app that could solve real-world problems or create better user experiences. Let me break it down. So to help you with the hackathon, we have some examples that are possible with Jina. However, these are just inspiration, and we really invite you to be creative, to build your own AI solutions using Jina. So there is no limit to your solution. Here are a few examples to help you to start with. For example, you can use Jina to find memes or GIFs by typing in description, which is image search with text. You can also use Jina to find a music clip by recording your own voice and searching yourself singing, which is audio search with audio. Another example is that you can find similar painting. You can simply snap a selfie of you, pose as an artwork, and see if you match with anything, right? And another example could be product recommendation engine. So fellow hackers, there is no limit to what you can build with Jina. And we really want to see you being creative, you being original, you going outside the box in this hackathon. So these are just a few examples to help you start brainstorming. Let me share with you a few things about the rules. Number 1 is about the team size. Team of up to 5 participants are allowed, and all team members must agree to the participation agreement, which we include in the registration form to compete. The second point is about the age range. So we allow participants must be 18 years old or older, or have reached the age of majority in the relevant jurisdiction. Number 3, you may not begin your project until the competition officially begins. 4, all participants must begin coding at the same time, and we allow 1 project submission per team. Last but not least, the winning team will be subject to a code review following the event or immediately before winning to ensure the fairness of the competition. Here are a few key dates to keep in mind, and please put this in your calendar so you don't miss the important date and time. Coding officially begins on September 18, 11 a.m. Central European Summer Time. And when the code freeze is when you must submit your submission in order to qualify for the prize, which is on September 20th, noon, Central European Summer Time. Please keep this date in mind. Very important for you to be qualified for our competition. Let me walk you through a schedule very quickly. So we will start on September 18, it's on a Friday. And all this time is in Central European Summer Time. So I know that this competition, we have hackers from all over the world. So please use some time zone calculator to find out which time zone will you be in so that you can attend our activities, because we have many cool activities packed for you on the upcoming weekend to make sure you have the best experience with Jina.ai Hackathon. So at 10 a.m., we have an opening ceremony. This will be broadcast on YouTube live stream, where you will hear more about Jina technology and also some inspiration words from Jina representative. Next, we also have a team formation activity where you will meet other hackers from all over the world, getting to know them, sharing your idea, pitch your idea, and then form teams. So if you don't have a team yet, don't worry. We also have this portion ready for you. At 11 a.m., coding officially begins. Let's get the party started. 2 p.m. to 3 p.m., we have a breakout session. This is hosted by Jina Engineer, who will share with you a little bit more about what you can build on Jina, some examples, some case study to really help you build on Jina. This will be broadcasted on YouTube live stream as well. From 3 to 5 p.m., we have optional mentor office hour. So we have this time open for you to come in with any question you have. So it could be about the competition, it could be about Jina, it could be about the code you're creating. Bring your questions, and the mentor from Jina will be available to answer your questions. They are very friendly, I promise. And then in the evening, we have time for also happy hour to get to know each other, as we're coming from many different parts of the world. Very exciting to get to know. So we also want to open the space for you to connect with fellow hackers. And if you also, in case you have questions that need to ask our mentor, we also have this space open for you as well. So that is our day one. For day two, it will be on a Saturday. At 9 a.m. to 10 a.m., we also have optional mentor office hour. So this time, once again, is open for you to come in with any question you have. If you don't have any questions, focus on your coding. But if you have any question, come into this office hour. Our mentor will be there with a friendly face and happy to answer your question. From 2 to 3 p.m., we have another breakout session hosted by Jina Engineer, who will guide you through the process of building on Jina. 3 to 5 p.m., we have another open slot for mentor office hours for you to come in with your question. And in the evening, it is time to start preparing for your pitch. So we have a pitch workshop will be delivered by AngelHack team to help you know which element is really important to include in your pitch. As you only have up to 3 minutes to pitch, it's not a lot of time. So how can we pack all the important information in your pitch and impress the judge? Now we come to the last day of the hackathon, which will be on next Sunday. 10 to 11 a.m., we have an optional pitch practice session. So our AngelHack team will be there. And if your team like to practice pitching with us, you can come in and we will be there to give you advice on your pitch. 12 p.m. noon, this is a submission deadline. So this is a hard deadline. You must submit your project by then. From 1 to 3 p.m., take a break because this is the time for our judges to work on finding who will be the top teams moving on to the next round. So you can take rest, refresh yourself, and also hold on to your phone as we will announce if your team will move on to the final round via Slack and email. So hold on to your phone and stay tuned as we will announce top teams moving into the final rounds. From 5 p.m. to 7 p.m., this is your time to shine in the final round. So we will select the top teams of the hackathon and we will broadcast on YouTube live stream to share with the whole world. And last but not least is the closing ceremony at 8 p.m. and awards, very exciting part. We will also live stream. And that is the wrap for our 3-day virtual hackathon. The prize is very exciting part, right? So we have one gold prize worth $5,000 in cash. We also offer 2 silver prizes. Each one is $2,000. Last but not least, we also have 5 prizes for the bronze prize. Each one worth $500. So we have 8 prizes for you to grab, many opportunities. So I hope that you will take this chance to work really hard, be creative, think outside the box, and grab our exciting prize. And now it's time for us to hear more about Jina and what you can do with Jina. I would like to invite Alex CG, open source evangelist at Jina, to tell us more. Hello, Alex. The floor is yours.
Hello, Jazz, and thank you for the introduction. It's so good to meet you all. I love meeting hackers, coders, developers, and just people who love to build stuff. And we're really, really excited to have you all here. I'm excited to see everyone here on the webinar. Hello, and everyone out there in YouTube land. So I am going to start presenting, and yeah, let's get this show on the road. So yes, welcome all hackers. A warning in advance. We are going to be including a lot of animated GIFs, or GIFs, depending on how you like to pronounce it, in this presentation. So strap in, buckle up, beware. Okay, I'm Alex Curtin-Griffiths, the open source evangelist here at Jina.ai, based in Berlin. And yeah, I won't be wearing the glasses today. Apologies for that. So people often ask what Jina is. The quickest way to say is it's an easier way to build neural search in the cloud. If we want to dig a little deeper on that, we can say it's an open source, deep learning powered search framework, which is cloud native and provides long-term support from a full-time venture-backed team. So you know that we're not going anywhere.
1 second, Alex. Have you shared your screen yet?
Yes. Oh, apologies. I did not.
No worries. We are keen to see your screen.
I was. Okay. Can you see it now? The awful animated GIF.
Yes, now we gotcha.
Fantastic. We knew we got there in the end. And that's the thing. Everyone makes mistakes now and again. So if you're new to Jina and you don't understand how something works, or you think you've messed up like me and Zoom, then we're super friendly. Just hop onto our GitHub issues, leave an issue, talk to us on Slack. We don't bite. Those are the glasses I was talking about and how I missed them. So yes, Jina, an easier way to build neural search in the cloud. And if we dig a little deeper, it's an open source, deep learning powered search framework, which is cloud native and provides long-term support from a full-time venture-backed team. I say deep learning. What does that mean? It means we support a lot of the top deep learning frameworks. As you can see on the right, we support TensorFlow, PyTorch, and a whole lot more. When I say cloud native, that means we do containerization, we do CI/CD, we do all the cloud native stuff. So we've got support for Docker and Kubernetes, and a whole range of other frameworks and technologies. So people ask, what does Jina search? Well, what doesn't Jina search? We do text, we do graphics, we do audio, we do video, and we do combinations of those as well. When I say combinations, I mean things like cross-modal search. You type in text, like orange, and you get images out. Another thing we offer is multimodal search. Oh, actually, I'll give you an example of the cross-modal first before we move forwards. So this is the real-world example. We've got our web-based front end. We're searching someone wearing a hat, and voila! Before you know it, you've got people wearing hats. Okay, I think we've seen enough of that one. We also offer multimodal search. So in this example, you can see a bunch of red Nike sneakers. And this is something that an image processing algorithm can understand. So in that case, we're searching red Nike sneakers from the image, but just from an image, we can't tell that they're imported or not. That imported text is included in the text description of each product. So with one query, we're searching both images and text. Some of our key features are that we save developers time. With Jina, you can bootstrap your own AI-powered search system in just a few minutes using tools like Cookie Cutter. We're production ready. We offer full cloud-native features, microservices, containerization, yada, yada, yada. You know the drill. We offer universal search, as I just discussed. First-class support for AI models, including things like Fayus, Annoy, Onyx, and much more. And plug and play. So with Jina Hub, you can extend Jina with simple Python scripts or Docker images optimized specifically for your search domain. Now, words are great, but come on, show us the proof, Alex. All right, well, without further ado, I shall. So for the first example, I'm going to show you our lyrics search. So you can search songs in real time from a user-friendly front end, and you'll be happy to know that, yes, Beyonce is in there. For another example, we've got Pokemon, and who doesn't love Pokemon? Who doesn't want to catch them all? So in this example, we've used Jina to index a database of Pokemon sprites, and we're going to do a similarity search based on a user query. So you can drag and drop a Pokemon, and it'll find similar Pokemon to that. So let's hop over there. So over here, we've got JinaBox. This is our front-end software for Jina search. And yeah, it offers text search, image, video, audio. Now, the Pokemon example is running on Docker on my own machine. It's all pre-indexed, so you can just download that and play with it on your own computer. And JinaBox itself, it runs in your web browser. You just go to Jina.ai/jinabox.js. So let's try searching some Pokemon. And I am unfortunately way too old to know the names of any of these. So let's try the flappy jellyfishy Pokemon and pray that it works. Yes, so we've got a bunch of matching sprites based on similarity. The top ones at the top, where they should be, the most similar, and moving down, they get a bit less similar. We can see they're still blue, and let's try something else. A picture of this cute little guy, a salamander or an axolotl. And well, we're getting pink things back, so that's pretty much in line. But what if we want to search for something that isn't here? What if we want to search for your favorite person and mine, Beyonce? We just drag and drop. And wow, Beyonce is much scarier as a Pokemon than in real life. I've always been curious to see which Pokemon I am. I might not like the results. Well, I'm better looking as a Pokemon, if I'm honest. Okay, moving on. We've got a whole bunch of other examples online in our examples repo. So things that do feature extraction, GIF search from Tumblr, and examples of our client-server architecture. And the most common example is Hello World, of course. So in our Hello World, we download the Fashion MNIST dataset, which is a really common dataset for machine learning activities. It's just pictures of different articles of clothing in black and white and downscale to make it really simple to search through them. Then we randomly select a subset of these images, and then based on that subset, we search for similar images to that. Again, this runs in Docker, and you can run it straight from the command line. It'll index all this data, it'll randomly select the input images, and it will create a web page as output. And to save time for everyone, because we only have so much time here, I pre-indexed it, and I pre-opened that web page. So yes, we've got the query. On the left-hand side, on the first column, we've got the random images. And then on the right-hand side, we've got all the things that Jina has found that are similar, all the other images from the data set. Now, at this point, I'm sure you're all saying, come on, show me the code, show me how it's done. And you know what? No, I'm not going to show you the code, because often with Jina, we don't need code. You can write everything, for a simple Jina program, you can write it in a YAML file. And you don't even have to type this YAML file. In our dashboard, you can just drag and drop and import and export YAML direct. So fine, you've twisted my arm, now I'll show you some code. So it's quite simple. You just import flow from Jina and create a new flow. And a flow is our paradigm for apps. A flow consists of pods that you can see here, and pods do all the grunt work. They encode data, they index data, and they later on query data. So you use a flow to start indexing, and we can add things like parallelization, always a tongue twister, that one. We can add sharding. We can use Docker images, either locally or remotely. We can concat embeddings and other stuff like that. And we can monitor it all with our dashboard. So our dashboard is all in one. It does the monitoring. It does the flow creation. So yeah, makes Jina really simple to use. And we've got JinaBox, which is our front end, which I just demoed. It's just simple as pie. Run it from your web browser, type in your server endpoint, and drag and drop, and bing, bong, bang, ready to go. So it's time for me to wrap it up now. So in summary, Jina supports a whole load of different search options. We can do text, which is long or short, any kind of document, video to video, image to image, X to X, X to Y, you name it. We're scalable, we're elastic. We offer distributed workloads, model containerization, index sharding, the works. So next steps for you. First of all, go to our GitHub repo, github.com/Jina.ai/Jina, and you can find an overview of all the Jina components, like flows, pods, Ps, executors, drivers. It's helpful. You don't actually need all of these to build your first app, though, because we've got a dedicated tutorial just for that, and it's as simple as setting a few environment variables and playing with some YAML. We've set up a dedicated support repo for this hackathon with some best practices for creating apps. And if you have any questions, you can add them to our FAQ there. And of course, we'd love you to go to our repo and smash that like button. If you want to follow us, this is how you can do it. Of course, GitHub is the best way. but we're on Twitter, we're on LinkedIn. So yeah, and that's all from me. So thanks very much, everybody. And back to you, Jazz.
Awesome. I love it. Thank you, Alex, for showing us so many things we can do with Jina. And I believe that after your presentation, the participants here know that there's no limit to what they can do with Jina. And if you have any question for Alex, feel free to use the Q&A box to share your question with Alex and also the Jina team. We have here a really big team of Jina staff is here, ready to answer your question. And it's also time to launch a quick poll related to Alex's last point. We are curious to hear from you. Have you started the Jina repo on GitHub yet? Yes, keep voting. Awesome, thank you. Thank you for joining the post. Let me share the results here. So about 40–60%. So I would encourage for those who have not smashed that start button on Jina repo, take a look and give it some love on the star as well. Thank you. Let's moving on to the next part of our webinar today. Yes, so just to sum up what Alex just shared with us, Jina is an easier way to build neural search on the cloud. It provides one-stop solution for multi-cross-modality search, and Jina has a long-term support from a full-time venture-backed team. Let's go into the submission. What do you have to submit in order to get the prize, right? So number one thing you need to do is to register your project at virtual.hackathon.io and ensure your submission includes, number one, is a project name and description. Be as descriptive as possible in your description. That will give the judges more context in understanding about what you are building with Jina. Second, please include the official open data reuse. Share with us the URLs so we know your source. Next, we would love to also see the evidence repo. The URL includes Jina in requirements.txt. So this is really important for us to make sure that you are qualified to win the prize in the submission. We also ask for the video URL. So this will be, you have a maximum of 3 minutes to show what you have built with Jina in this video. We also ask, if possible, for you to share with us your demo URL. And last but not least, very important, submit all of this by noon, Central European Summer Time on Sunday, September 20th. Another quick note, we will post the submission link on Slack next week. So I would like to launch another poll question. Have you joined our Jina.ai Hackathon Slack workspace yet? We would love to hear from you. Awesome. So let me share the results with you. So for this question, 80% have already joined our Jina.ai Slack Hackathon workspace. Wonderful. This is really important as on Slack, we will share all the important announcements. You can collaborate, you can find your teammate, and also ask mentor questions on Slack. So if you have not joined our Slack workspace yet, you still have time to join today. May I introduce to you our amazing judges? So we have Joan Fontanas. He's an AI engineer of Jina. Dr. Nan Wang, co-founder and CTO of Jina. Dr. Ibrahim Haddad, Executive Director of ALF AI Foundation. Ms. Lucia Loher, Product Manager of Jina, and Bin Gu, former Elastic Architect. Here are the judging criteria for you to keep in mind. The first criteria is execution. This is up to 5 points. We are looking at how well was the project executed and explained. So you are only given 48 hours to build what you can do with Jina, right? So we want to see in this such a short and intensive time, how well could you execute this project and was able to communicate with us your message. The next criteria we look at is originality. We really care about you being creative and unique and be original in your idea. As I mentioned, there's no limit. So think outside the box of what you can do with Jina, because that's what we are really looking forward to see in your submission. The last criteria is scalability. How scalable is the solution? Will it make an impact? We also have a team of enthusiastic mentors who will be available during the hackathons to help you answer your question. So let's welcome Susanna, James, Ritaja, and Sergi. Thank you so much for your time in joining us in mentoring the teams. This hackathon is powered by AngelHack and is sponsored by Jina. And now we would like to open the floor for questions and answers from you guys. Yes, so I will go through the Q&A box right now and let's answer the question. Okay, so we have many interesting questions here, and the Jina team, we would love to count on you to answer this question.
So Jina folks, if you open the Q&A box at the bottom of the screen, you should see a button to answer some of these questions live. So yeah, answer away.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you, Alex. So let's kickstart with a question from YouTube. Do you provide the data sets for the competition? Do you provide the data sets for the competition?
At present, we've got a load of data sets available in our examples repo, but there are data sets available all over the web, a whole bunch of open data sets, especially from sites like Kaggle, which is a site specifically for machine learning projects. For example, I built a Star Trek search app, so I can search any line from Star Trek: The Next Generation. And that's actually in the My First Jina app. Some of them you might have to do a bit of data wrangling and data cleanup to get it into the right kind of file format for Jina to understand. But that's pretty much true of any machine learning project you start. Data wrangling is always the fun part.
Awesome. Thank you, Alex. So we hope that you can find plenty of resources also available on our Jina.ai Hackathon website. Another question from Sanjay Nithin. Thank you for submitting the questions, Sanjay, and welcome to the hackathon. So Sanjay asked, what are the prerequisites to start with Jina?
Jina mentors, you can hit answer live, and that should start a video, right, Jazz?
Yes, everyone can start a video.
Okay, awesome. So Susanna, Joanne, anyone who wants to answer that?
In which sense the prerequisites?
So I think this question...
That's a good point. Is it like technical prerequisites, like you need Linux or you need a certain set of Python libraries? Or is it like knowledge-based? You need to know Python or TensorFlow or PyTorch or so on and so forth. I guess we can answer both questions.
Yeah, that would be great.
Back to you, Joanne.
I'm not so sure, but in terms of prerequisites, we support, I think, any operating system, and the dependencies of Jina is quite of a lightweight framework, so it has just, I think, 4 or 5 main dependencies. It's NumPy, Tornado, and maybe a couple of them that are not complicated to find in any system and easy to install. And then you can add more dependencies as your project requires easily. And in terms of knowledge, you just need to have some knowledge of Python, but I wouldn't say that you need to be an expert, and just curious and eager to learn and to hack.
To add to that, I highly recommend the My First Jina app tutorial. If you're a newbie or just entry level at Python, and you haven't really done much machine learning before, that is the place to start. It really offers a jumping on point. And about operating systems, yeah, we support Mac OS, we support Linux. The one we use most of all is Ubuntu, so it'll probably work better there than any other options. We don't support Windows at present. We don't support Nintendo Switch or Xbox or anything like that.
Awesome. Thank you, Alex and Joanne, for jumping in to have answered the question. Thank you. Let's move on to another question. So this question is from Shubham Kumar. Hi, Shubham. Welcome to the hackathon. So Shubham asks, we can search anything using Jina. So the question is, how many languages are supported other than English? Would anyone like to take this question?
It's me again.
Hi, hi, Joanne.
Hello. So it's in terms of English or the language for NLP-based tasks, it is more about which pre-trained models you choose to work with rather than what Jina provides out of the box. Jina, it's really easy to extend. As Alex said, with a few Python lines of code, you can add a lot of powerful encoders or AI-powered search engine search functionality, and that can be adapted to any language depending on the models you choose to provide. I hope it answered a little bit or shed some light to this question.
Thank you, Joanne, for jumping in to answer Shubham's question. Yes, let's move on to another question. So this question is from Dami Lola. Hi there. So Dami asks that, have been trying to make use of Pre-Jina. Does it need Xcode to execute?
Me again. I don't have Xcode because I'm just running on a Linux system here. So you certainly don't need Xcode to make Jina work. If I believe you're on a Mac, if you have Xcode, I don't think any of our Mac users use Xcode either.
I have a Mac and I don't use Xcode. So I'm using PyCharm, but I was also using Visual Code, and you can use both. So no need to Xcode.
Awesome. Yes.
Just to add to that, in terms of PyEnv, I don't use that personally. For virtual environments, I use VirtualEnv. That's never given me any problems at all. But if you're not already using virtual environments, do it. It will save you so many headaches in the future, not just for Jina, but for any development project, Python or otherwise. You don't want your system libraries and your development libraries getting mixed up, because that will mean you could have a bad day.
Thank you, Alex. And for the mentor who just answered the question, hi there, can you quickly introduce yourself so that all the participants here can get to know you?
Yeah, sorry. I'm Susanna, and I'm also working Jina here in the Berlin office. So nice to meet you all.
Hi, Susanna. Thank you for joining in and helping answer the question.
Sure.
Awesome. Okay, another question we have from Rakhavendra. Hi there. So the question is, do we need to submit gamification solutions only for the hackathon? Do we need to submit gamification solutions only for the hackathon?
For the hackathon, I encourage you to submit any project that you make that is creative.
Yeah.
I hadn't thought about using Jina for games before, but I'm not going to say it's impossible. That sounds intriguing. So yeah, feel free to submit anything that is creative, is original, and that you think is cool.
Awesome. That's the whole point of the hackathon. Yes. So we would love to see your creative idea on what you can do with Jina. So this may also already answer a question from an anonymous attendee. So this person asked, so we only have to develop new research projects for this hackathon using Jina. As Alex already mentioned, there's no limit with what you can do with Jina. So we're looking forward to see your creative out-of-the-box solutions using Jina, of course. So let's move on to the question from Ashutosh. Hi, Ashutosh. So Ashutosh asked, can we build the whole application through Jina Flow? Can we build the whole application through Jina Flow? Any mentor judges here like to share?
So hi, this is Max, also working for the Jina office in Berlin. In principle, you can do it completely via Jina Flow. So there's, you can just click it together, but it might be that for data parsing in the beginning, you want to have some custom-made function, and then perhaps you do more than just Jina Flow, but you also build your own custom Python function, which you just can include, and it's just one line in the YAML file, and then your own Python is included. So I think the only point is you have to use Jina, but otherwise you can add as many other Python things as you want.
Great. Thank you, Max, for sharing your insights. Yes, this is another question from Joshua. I think this is more of a request that we will follow up after the hackathon. Hi, Joshua, by the way. So Joshua request, can you please share a calendar invite so that this translates to local time zone on the calendar? Yes, we will follow after this webinar to have this event on your calendar in your local times. Thank you for your suggestion. This is another really interesting question from YouTube. This is from Jedidia. Hello there. Thanks for watching us. So Jedidia asked, with regards to the scoring, what kind of things will you be measuring to judge impact, or impact on what? So any of the team here can clarify on this point?
That is a very good question. And yeah, defining impact in general is something a lot of people do have trouble with. So I can't speak for all the judges here, but for me, impact means it actually does something useful for communities or for the world. Like it has an impact. Like when I think about projects that don't have an impact, it's like I don't know, a Beanie Baby search engine. Okay, maybe that's okay, even a Pokemon search engine doesn't have a lot of real impact on the world. So something that's useful. I mean, it doesn't have to be humanitarian or philanthropic. Just make the world an easier or slightly better place. But I'm happy to hear other answers on that as well. I'm sure we all define impact differently.
Yeah, I think this part that you said about making everything like a little bit a better place, it goes to anything, to even solving someone's problem a little bit better. So if you come with a solution that can save someone's time and something, that it is already making everything a little bit better. So it's very open, just something that you would like to see in the world, I would say.
I like that answer.
Yes, same here. I like that. Build something you want to see in the world. Okay, so Joshua is asking question about, are we allowed to build medical-based app using Jina?
Sure. I mean, medical-based stuff, it really helps the world. Don't go breaking rules about, you know, patient confidentiality or collecting personal data. But yeah, medical sounds like a great use case. The world is your oyster. Just create whatever you think is cool. And personally, I do think medical stuff is cool.
The world is your oyster, and create what you think is cool. That's a message from Alex. Thank you. An anonymous attendee asked, and we're also running out of questions here. So maybe we can take some time to show the video as well. So the attendee asked if we can show any video or instruction on how to start with Jina, how to load the data set, and those sort of things. A step-by-step guide on how to implement a sample project would be great. So since we still have time here and we're running out of questions, if you'd like to show the video, that'd be great.
So in terms of implementing a sample project, we've got the My First Jina app tutorial, and that just walks you through everything. Installing Jina, setting up your environment, downloading the data, getting the data into Jina, running the flows, indexing, querying, everything. It's very simple, it's step-by-step. I threw in plenty of emojis because emojis make everything better. And yeah, so that's on our examples repo. And I'll post a link in the chat.
Yes, so Alex will share the link on the chat so you can take a look at the video, My First Jina app, which is very informative and will help you to start with building on Jina.
Just to clarify, we will be turning that into a video tutorial soonish. Right now, it's just text-based.
Thanks, Alex, for the clarification. Shubham asked another question. How can we know about the data sets which are very much pre-trained in Jina? Any mentor would like to take this question?
So I would say it's the models that are pre-trained on data sets. But yeah, one of our mentors could talk about pre-trained models.
So here, Joan again. So we have first-class support for many of the most popular pre-trained models. For computer vision, you can have access to a lot of convolutional neural network architectures, popular ones trained on ImageNet like ResNet, AlexNet, whatever. We support all the, for NLP, a lot of the BERT models provided by Hugging Face Transformers project. And for some tasks, it is easy to provide your own pre-trained models as a pickle file, and we will load them and use them as encoders. But as I said earlier, it is really easy, and it doesn't need too many lines of code to add your own model that you can have pre-trained on your data, or it is easy to use a lot of the popular big models out there.
Awesome. Thank you, Joanne. Sorry for mispronouncing your name. Awesome. Thank you for sharing your insight. We have about 9 minutes left, so let's go through a few more questions from the audience. So Damilola would like to follow up on the previous question. So Dami mentioned, would love to find out more. Why I try to pip install it. It requires a Python version higher than 2. So what alternative do you make use of, please? Any mentor would like to have on this question?
So that's a two-part question. One part about PyEnv and one part about Python 2. We only support Python 3 point something. I'm sure Joanne can clarify on that.
7 and above.
3.7.
Yeah.
7 and 8.
3.7, 3.8. Thanks. In terms of environments, I myself use virtual env. I used pipenv before, but I really don't recommend that. It leads to headaches in the long run. I'll post a link in the chat about using virtual env. And yeah, that'll stop your system libraries getting mixed up with your development libraries, and nobody wants that. Any other thoughts on that from the mentors?
Yes, and Alex just shared with us a link on the chat. Yes. So let me just copy and paste Alex's message to you all, so you can see what he just shared. Wonderful. Let's move on to the next question. So Joshua asked, can we use WSL on Windows to build Jina on Windows?
I'm afraid we don't support Windows at the moment. I myself have tried and have not succeeded. Yeah, sorry.
Not at the
What
moment.
I suggest, if you anyhow want to somehow participate, you can create a virtual environment on your computer if the computer has the power to do it, and then build somehow anything in your virtual environment. Install there Linux of any flavor, and then you can code in this virtual environment. This might be a little bit of tedious task to do, but usually it takes like an hour, and then you have a running Ubuntu in your Windows, and then you can code.
Just to build on what Max said, when I was talking about virtual environment, I meant Python development virtual environment. That's what we can use virtual env for. In terms of what Max was discussing, you'd want a tool like VirtualBox. And then you can download the ISO file from Ubuntu, use it as a live disk, install it on a virtual PC that's running on top of your Windows PC. And yeah, when I've been developing anything in Python on Windows, it's so much easier to do it in Ubuntu running on a virtual box. Not just Jina, anything with Python.
Great. Thank you, Max and Alex, for sharing. And I hope that with the mentor advice, you will be able to build on Jina on your window. So we already went through all of the questions popping up in the Q&A box. All right, so if we don't have any other questions left, I would like to also invite our mentors and the Jina team here. If you would like to say a few words of encouragement to the participants who are watching, who is very excited about joining the hackathon, what piece of advice or what words of wisdom would you like to share with them?
Well, first, it's very nice to have so many people here. So thank you all for joining us. And I will just suggest that you try and be creative with it. So it has a lot of potential. And I myself, I'm also learning with you kind of. So, don't feel afraid to ask us questions, so we will be there. You can ping us anytime. If you feel you're stuck in anything, please really feel free to contact, and we will try to help you out as much as possible. So you try to think outside of the box and as creative as possible, and just let us know if there are some issues on the way. We will do our best to help you.
Thank you for that message.
To build on what Susanna said, yes, we're all new at this sometimes, and Jina is a brand new framework. So if you have questions, please let us know. We love those questions. And quite often, if you think you're doing something wrong, it might not be you. Like I said, we're new. There are still bugs in the system we're working out. So we don't want you, thinking and stressing for 2 or 3 hours about a mistake that you might be making, because it might just be a bug in our code. So let us know and we'll help you and we'll work this out together.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Alex and Susanna, for sharing a few words of encouragement to our participants who are watching.
Any words from anyone else?
Yeah.
Yeah, if you start your project, don't stick too much to what you really want to achieve, but try to first achieve something small and then build upon it. And don't try too big especially if you're someone new to Python, don't try to do something too big, but rather something small and then build upon it during the weekend. I think that is then you have much more the feeling of success instead of trying to get everything running from the very beginning. And especially if you're new to Python, I encourage you start with one of our examples and then build upon this example, change something here and there, and build perhaps a better UI for things that may help you when you're really new to Python and the whole world of AI.
Indeed. Thank you, Max. Indeed, when I organize hackathon, I see people often to try to solve really big global problem. But I think Max has a really good point that pick one small problem that you can solve and you can make an impact and go from there. Start small.
And if you want proof that real-world projects can be built using Jina, one of our community members did just that, building a search engine for the European legal database. So I'll share the link to the GitHub so you can see that too. It's not just toy examples, real-world stuff.
Exciting. Thank you, Alex. Would love to see the example. Okay, so we have one last question. We will take only one last question. This is just came up from Shubham, and then we will wrap up our webinar today. So this one last question for you, the mentors. So Shubham asked, is this possible to make something kind backflow to Jina? I mean, we provide an image and Jina try to figure out on aesthetics and kind of. Any mentor has an insight to share on this?
I think this is definitely possible. It might be a bigger task. So that might be not, if you're new to Python and so on, that might be not the thing that you want to build. But in general, I think this is, the other search or other way around, right? You can enter aesthetics and you get pictures, but you can also always turn a search around and enter a picture and get a lot of aesthetic descriptions of something. So it's definitely possible. It might be a bigger project. So this I would only try to do when I have already some experiences with AI frameworks and know perhaps even which algorithms are already good for this and want to use Jina just somehow as a framework to glue everything together. Then I would perhaps tackle such a thing, and it's definitely possible. But it might take a lot of time and be not that easy.
Yeah, I would class this more as a classification problem. Like you show it a picture of a Dalmatian dog, and you would get the keywords back: dog, Dalmatian, pet, mammal, animal. So yeah, that to me would be classification. If you wanted to generate a description like this is a dog sitting on the grass eating a bone, then you'd need to throw natural language generation in there as well, and that would be a lot for a weekend. So I personally wouldn't go there. Not to say you can't, but it wouldn't be straightforward.
Awesome. Thank you so much, the Jina team, for being present. And you guys have been really helpful in answering the participant questions. I know we have a bunch of questions, and thank you for your patience and insight in helping our participants understand more about Jina and what they can do. And also to our attendees who are watching the live stream and also joining us in this webinar, thank you very much for your time. And we are really excited to see you, what you can come up with using Jina. So we're looking forward to seeing you in the hackathon, which is coming up next weekend. Save the date. So we'll be available on Slack for any more questions you have. Our mentor team is there to answer your questions. So it is my invitation for you to start thinking right now, start brainstorming what you can do with Jina, so that you can get a jump start on your project. If you still need more team members, reach out to your network, ask your friend if they can join your team and make it a winning team for this upcoming hackathon, right? And bring home the prize. And last but not least, if you can share with us your thoughts about the webinar on Slack today or post any questions, we would love to hear from you. And once again, thank you very much for your time and for joining us today. And we're looking forward to seeing you in the hackathon.
Thanks, everyone. I can't wait to see you at the hackathon. I can't wait to see what you build. I am pumped for this. And I'm sure all of you are psyched as well. So let's go out there. Let's build something amazing. Let's do this.
Let's do this. Thank you, Alex. With that, I will close the webinar right now, and we will stay in touch on Slack and see you next weekend.